Hello everybody, it's me Jones J here. As I'm sure a lot of you know, I'm from the United States, and while I am proud to be American and appreciate all the great things about this country, I have to admit we're not quite perfect. One glaring example is our outdated rail infrastructure. While countries like Japan, France, and China have embraced high-speed rail, the US has lagged behind, but change is potentially on the horizon. In this video, we'll quickly discuss the history of rail in the United States and explore three major projects aiming to revolutionize American rail travel: Amtrak's new Acela trains, California high-speed rail, and Brightline West. We'll examine their histories, challenges, and projected timelines to determine which might be America's first true high-speed rail system. Before we begin, I make a lot of content from everything from architecture, urbanism, aviation, gaming, and more, so be sure to subscribe and ring the notification bell so you can stay up to date on my content. Believe it or not, the United States was once the global pioneer in rail transportation. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, our railroads weren't just symbols of progress, they were the backbone of the nation's expansion, economy, and industrial strength. The construction of the Transcontinental Railroad, completed in 1869, was one of the most monumental infrastructure achievements in American history. It linked the East and West Coasts, reducing travel time across the country from 6 months to about 1 week. This connected markets, enabled westward migration, and was integral to the economic rise of the United States. By the early 1900s, America had the largest and most advanced rail network in the world. Cities like New York, Chicago, and Philadelphia became major transportation hubs. Railroads like the Pennsylvania Railroad, once called the standard railroad of the world, led in engineering innovation and passenger experience. Electric trains were already running on some lines, and streamliner trains of the 1930s and 1940s, such as the Burlington Zephyr, introduced aerodynamic designs and diesel-electric propulsion, cutting-edge technology at the time. Trains like the 20th Century Limited and the Super Chief offered elegant, fast service that rivaled the luxury of ocean liners and the efficiency of modern airlines. In fact, engineers from countries like Japan, which is considered to have one of the most advanced high-speed rail networks today, once visited the United States to learn from our railway systems. These observations helped inspire the development of Japan's Shinkansen decades later. In short, the US wasn't just good at rail, we defined what modern rail travel could be. But somewhere along the way, things changed, and unfortunately the US lost its lead on the world stage. So what happened? Well, starting in the 1950s, America shifted its focus. The rise of automobiles, suburban sprawl, and powerful auto and oil industries led to the dismantling of many rail networks. Streetcars vanished in many cities and towns, and rail ridership plummeted. Meanwhile, countries like Japan went the opposite direction. They decided to invest heavily in rail, launching the world's first high-speed train, the Shinkansen, in 1964. If you want to learn more about the Shinkansen, you can check out my video on it here. Europe also followed suit with its own high-speed rail networks. And of course today, China is known for having the world's longest high-speed rail network. While other countries continue to invest heavily in their rail systems, the US doubled down on only highways and air travel, leaving our rail systems to stagnate. If you are interested in learning more about the rise and fall of passenger rail in the United States, I highly recommend you check out this video series that the YouTuber Alan Fisher is working on, as it goes way more in depth than my video here does. But now, there are thankfully some efforts that are underway to bring high-speed rail to the United States. Let's take a look at them. Amtrak's Acela service, operating in the Northeast Corridor between Boston and Washington, D.C., is currently the closest thing the U.S. has to high-speed rail. Since I live in the Northeast, I have personally used the service many times to get between the Northeast U.S. cities, and while it may not be as nice as something like the Japanese Shinkansen, I can definitely say that the experience getting around by train is so much better than driving. Instead of being strapped down to a seat for hours, constantly having to pay attention to the road, dealing with bad traffic and drivers, on a train, you can just relax in a comfortable seat, get work done with the provided free Wi-Fi service, get up to take walks, or use the bathroom if needed, or chill in the cafe bar and grab a bite to eat, all while smoothly gliding to your destination. Launched in 2000, Acela trains can reach speeds of up to 150 miles per hour. However, due to aging infrastructure and shared tracks with freight and commuter trains, the average speed actually hovers around 70 to 80 miles per hour. Recognizing the need for improvement, Amtrak ordered 28 new Acela train sets from Alstom, known as the Avelia Liberty. These trains are designed to reach speeds of 160 miles per hour and offer increased capacity and comfort. Originally slated for service in 2021, the new trains faced delays due to testing issues and infrastructure upgrades. As of 2025, Amtrak expects the new Acela trains to enter service later this year. While these upgrades are significant, without dedicated high-speed tracks, the full potential of these trains remains limited. Now let's talk about California high-speed rail. California's high-speed rail project is currently the most ambitious rail endeavor in the US. Approved by voters in 2008, the plan aimed to connect San Francisco to Los Angeles with trains traveling at up to 220 miles per hour, completing the journey in under 3 hours compared to the 6+ hours it can take to drive the route. However, the project has faced numerous challenges. Costs have ballooned from an initial estimate of $33 billion to as much as $128 billion. Construction has also primarily focused on the 119-mile segment in the Central Valley, since it's cheaper to build here due to the flatter geography. While some major viaducts and passage right-of-ways have been completed, the progress has been painfully slow, especially compared to how fast other countries can build high-speed rail. The Federal Railroad Administration has criticized the project for missing deadlines and budget shortfalls, threatening to rescind $4 billion in federal funding. California officials, however, remain committed, highlighting progress in environmental reviews and land acquisitions. Despite setbacks, the state plans to complete the Central Valley segment by 2033, with hopes of extending the line to San Francisco and Los Angeles soon after. While the project's future is uncertain, proponents argue that, like Japan's Shinkansen, initial challenges can be overcome, leading to long-term benefits. After all, the original Japanese Shinkansen also went vastly over budget, but instead of giving up, they finished the project, and today, not really many people think about how it went over budget, but instead focus on the major economic benefits it has brought to Japan and the great experience it is to use the service. The same could also be true for California high-speed rail in the United States. Another high-speed rail project currently under construction is Brightline West. Brightline is a private company with a mission to make rail travel succeed in the United States. They have already completed a project in Florida, connecting the Orlando metropolitan area with the Miami metropolitan area. The project has ultimately been very successful and provides a great alternative for traveling in Florida. However, it is not a high-speed rail project, as its top speed is only 125 miles per hour and its average speed is only 69 miles per hour. To be considered high-speed rail, a system must have an operating speed above 150 miles per hour. Brightline, however, is working on another project on the opposite side of the country that will meet the criteria for high-speed rail. Brightline West aims to be a true high-speed rail line between Las Vegas and Southern California. The 218-mile all-electric rail service will include stations in Las Vegas, Victor Valley, and Rancho Cucamonga. Trains are expected to reach speeds of up to 200 miles per hour, reducing travel time between Las Vegas and Southern California to about 2 hours compared to the 3 to 5 hours it can take to drive, depending on traffic. Construction began in early 2024, and it was originally expected to take approximately 4 years, with service originally planned to start in 2028 in time for the Los Angeles Summer Olympics. However, Brightline West has also appeared to be facing some delays and may not be ready by 2028. That being said, it still seems likely to be finished before California high-speed rail. Unlike government-led projects like California high-speed rail, Brightline West benefits from private funding and a more streamlined process which helps speed up its construction. It also helps that it follows the I-15 right-of-way, which means it doesn't have to get right-of-way clearance like California high-speed rail did. Given that it's a more simple process, Brightline West will potentially be the first true high-speed rail line in the United States. Beyond these major projects, other high-speed rail initiatives are in various stages of development. Texas Central is a proposed line between Dallas and Houston using Japanese Shinkansen technology. Unfortunately, the project has faced some legal and financial challenges, and in April 2025, the Trump administration terminated a federal grant, casting doubt on its future. Another high-speed rail project that could potentially take place in the future is one in Illinois. The Illinois High-Speed Rail Commission is conducting a feasibility study for a line connecting Chicago and St. Louis, with potential extensions to other cities in the Midwest, like Minneapolis and Detroit. The study is expected to be completed in early 2026, and they are currently seeking potential route paths for the Chicago to St. Louis route. While these projects are still in the planning phases, they indicate growing interest in high-speed rail across the country. So, which project will become America's first true high-speed rail system? If timelines hold, Brightline West is poised to take the lead, potentially launching service by the end of this decade. Amtrak's new Acela trains will offer improvements but are limited by existing infrastructure. California's ambitious project faces significant hurdles but could transform transportation in the long term if they can complete Phase 1 in the 2030s. High-speed rail offers numerous benefits: reduced travel times, decreased carbon emissions, economic growth, and just an overall more pleasant way to travel compared to driving and flying. While challenges remain, investing in modern rail infrastructure is a step towards a more connected and sustainable future. Let me know in the comments which project you think will be the first high-speed rail system in the US. Thanks a lot for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.